Hello. This difficulty really took all I had. After countless of hours, countless runs, I still kept losing. I even got to the final boss fight a couple of times. But of course. Then I had the perfect run. But my summons get bugging. I ended up having one life left. And the enemies just wouldn't stop. Finally, here are the perks I used for the challenge. Level 9 castle, imps and demons at the start, and stronger summoned creatures. We got the perfect start here. We got King of Spells, King of Nothing, and the perfect hand. We got Symmetry, 3 units, and Sacrifice. And with 3 units, it allows us to use sacrifices and offerings later on. So the only thing that could make this run better is if we get offering here from the year 1. Which we actually did get. So now if the offering is good, we're kinda set for the early game. And the offering gave us 2 clones, which is huge. It allows us to level up our castle, and with the other clone we can use sacrifice on the imps and replace the imps with the clone next year. So we use sacrifice there, and next year we can place back the imps. And we leveled our castle there twice, while also leveling our Symmetry, demons, and we get the imps back next year. So that was kind of the perfect first 2 years we could have gotten. Now the most important thing here is that we keep leveling up our castle as fast as possible. So we kinda need to level up our castle to level 9, so full level, before year 12 or year 11. And that's why we kind of need to get lucky. We need to get level ups for our castle every year. And on top of that, we need a diplomacy called Warhorns here, which we get. And Warhorns buffs all of my summons by 50%. So it buffs Symmetry, Castle, and Demons. And in the later game, it's gonna buff like 7 to 6 different buildings, which is insane. And as you can see here, our units are kinda bad. We have 2 level 1 imps. But as long as they keep tanking for my castle is already doing 10k damage on year 5. And it doesn't really matter what level your imps are, as long as you have a Symmetry that's kinda scaling and summoning units from the dying imps. So Symmetry buys us a lot of time, because first the enemies kill my imps, and normally they would just kinda run over me and get to my castle, but then the imps spawn more units, which kinda buys me like way more time than having 3 different imps compared to having 2 imps and a Symmetry. And we kind of just need to keep snowballing here, because the moment we have a bad year is kind of the moment we fall behind. So we placed Spire there just to use an offering on it next year, and we just kind of, yeah, we're just kind of trying not to fall behind. And now we can declare war on a king. So we need to get a King of Nature here, which we, thank God, did. Because now we have 2 easy kings. We have King of Nature and King of Nothing, which are kinda easy compared to the other kings. While we have the King of Spells that allows us to keep scaling pretty hard. Like there we got 2 wild cards and overinvest. And our castle is level 8 on year 8, which is insane. We have effectively leveled up our castle every year, while also having units, Symmetry, and our demons. And here we got our castle to max level. So our castle is kinda gonna carry us to like year 16 alone. And we only start to focus on our units when our castle is full level, because on the early game the castle will kinda solo carry you if you get it to full level, and then you have to finally get your units strong enough so they can later on tank for your castle and live long enough for your castle to kill the enemy units. And our offering there was pretty bad, but I have noticed that no offering is like too bad if you know what to do with it, except if you get 3 earthworks. But yeah, we earthworked the semester there to duplicate it, and then we can just sell the earthworks and over invest on the castle, because our castle is now full level, so we get the maximum value out of the over investment, 15%. And yeah, if you haven't noticed, for some reason the enemies don't focus on the summons from the King of Blood's castle. So it, the only way you can lose your units are from AoE damage and defenders. That's why you don't ever go against the King of Progress. But yeah, the defenders can kill your units, the ballistas can kill your units, and the warlocks from the King of Spells can kill your units. But everything outside of that kind of will never kill the unit summoned by your castle. And we're kind of abusing that fact right here, because then we can just scale our castle's units to insane amount of damage, and they can just keep free hitting as long as, you know, my units are alive. And that's why I'm finally starting to upgrade and spread my units, because it's kind of a, you know, standoff against the enemy. Does the enemy kill my units before my summoned castle units kill the enemies? Because after the enemies kill my normal units, they will kind of ignore the castle units and just run towards my castle. So that's why I just need to make sure I kill the enemies before they kill me. And here I could have taken the embalming, but I decided to be greedy and look for another warhorns, which I got. So I have been very lucky in this run. But I decided to be greedy only because you kinda cannot win these later difficulties if you're not just as greedy as possible. So you just kinda need to be greedy, be lucky, and if you fall behind, you just kinda have to restart the game. But the good thing about the King of Blood is that he has like 3 royal decrees that are actually good. So you know, you don't need to be as lucky with the King of Blood as, for example, the King of Spells. And the game is looking pretty easy and smooth right now, but I actually almost lost this run later on, which was a little bit too close. It wasn't even funny anymore. But yeah, we're getting a lot of offerings, which is good, because we want to make peace with the King of Spells as soon as possible. And here we are gonna lose our first life. And for some reason, as you can see, the summoned units just stop chasing the enemies when they're running towards my castle. I don't know why, but yeah, that's why you have to have real units tank, because when our real units die, then the summoned units can bug out like that, and the enemies will just ignore the summoned units. And the summoned units also, for some reason, can ignore the enemy units. So it's a little silly, but it is what it is. I'm not complaining though. The summon units are still very strong. And I expanded the slots around my castle in the hopes of getting a blacksmith, which I finally got. That took like 10 years to get, but I'm not complaining. We have been so lucky with the run. And now another royal decree is coming, and we still need one thing, and that's the evil pact, which we got. And now our 2 warhorns kind of double the strength of my summons, while the evil pact also doubles the amount of my summons. So they kind of go crazy hand in hand, and we finally beat the Blood King there. If we didn't get the evil pact, we would have lost that fight. So yeah, That's how important luck is, because we've been lucky with 3 of the royal decrees and we barely won against the King of Blood there. And we're gonna make peace with the King of Spells. Only because the King of Spells has a lot of AoE damage, and the boss has an AoE damage, the Warlocks have AoE damage, and King of Nothing and the King of Nature have no AoE damage at all, except for the bosses. And here we lost our second life, which kinda made me nervous, because if we lost a run this perfect, then would this even be possible to beat the difficulty? And yeah, it was getting a little bit too close. But yeah, we want to ideally go against the King of Nothing or the King of Nature in the boss fight, because King of Blood still has AoE damage from the bomber guys. And yeah, the boss has like 80 of the bomber guys, and they can, if we get unlucky, they can just one-shot all of our summoned units, and we can lose the run that way too. And that's why we took the Thieves, because the Thieves can teleport to the enemies, and like 6 Thieves can explode over 20 of those bomber guys alone, so they can tank a lot of damage, and the bomber guys of course die when they explode. And right there we almost lost the run, which is crazy. With a run this lucky and still coming so close to losing, that's crazy. But yeah, the Thieves can teleport to the enemies, they can explode the bomber guys, and then the cemeteries will summon more units from the Thieves in the middle of the enemies, which also can explode the bomber guys. So that's why we obviously put the Thieves next to the cemeteries, and by now I don't think there is anything that we could lose to, because now we have solved the King of Blood problem. And I made a huge mistake by putting the blacksmith down there, because I put it so late that I didn't feel like it was worth to invest in it. And now we get our last royal decree, which isn't as important as the earlier ones, because we have kinda scaled to become strong enough already. So that's why I take the Covenant to make my demons twice as tanky, which is obviously very good for the boss fight. But I was thinking about re-rolling there, but I felt like we really didn't need to. So yeah, I took the Covenant, and yeah, the Blacksmith, it kinda took up a plot for no reason. I shouldn't have placed it down, because I didn't get any sacrifices, offerings, or anything like that anymore. So yeah, we couldn't replace it with anything, and we could have had even more units, but the blacksmith was on the way, so it was a huge misplay. So I think the next difficulty is possible. If you get a 4th, like, very good royal decree, and if you don't make a couple of these misplays I made, we almost lost there too, by the way. But yeah, I made a couple mistakes here. We could have gotten a 4th royal decree that, like, for example, doubles our imps or something like that. So we kinda, this wasn't a perfect run. So I believe the next difficulty is possible. And now we just have 80 gold for no reason. So I should have maybe re-rolled on the royal decree. And yeah, I take steel coat, so it makes my imps basically twice as tanky, because my imps get one shot anyway. So them tanking another shot makes them twice as tanky. So steel coat is very good on these castle carry builds, makes your units way more tankier, and everything in this difficulty does so much damage that if you haven't invested in HP, your units will just get one shot. And here I am, wondering Why did I put the blacksmith down? I had units, I still had imps, but I just couldn't place them. And we went against the King of Nature. So yeah, we got lucky with the royal decrees, with the boss fight, and the boss fight was pretty close, but the King of Nature is easily the best possible scenario for this. And that's how I won the King 14 difficulty. That took a long time. But we got there, and I do believe the next difficulty is possible, so I'm gonna be trying to beat that now. And yeah, our demons were very tanky. And yeah, wish me luck on the next one. Thank you for watching. Maybe consider subscribing. And good luck if you're trying to beat this challenge.